Wisconsinites have a work ethic like no other, strong family values, and take pride in going above and beyond for our neighbors. Legislators in Madison have heard from you. We understand the struggles families face all across Wisconsin dealing with this record-setting inflation. Due to the good decisions made by my Republican colleagues over the past decade, we now have a record surplus and ample revenues to address the issues facing our state. While we just heard Democrats seem to want to spend most of the money growing the size of state government, our top priority is to make living here less expensive while maintaining our wonderful quality of life. We know families struggle with inflation on everything from the cost of eggs to the price of a new home. That's why I'm proud Wisconsin Republicans have led the way for the past decade, cutting state and local taxes by over $22 billion. In fact, it was recently announced that Wisconsin families have the lowest tax burden ever recorded. And while we should all take pride in that fact, we still have a long way to go. The states around us, Michigan, Illinois, and Iowa, all have a lower income tax burden than we do. We must do better to remain competitive, and I promise we will. In our last budget, we passed the largest investment in K-12 education in our state's history, reaching 2/3 state funding, all without raising income or sales taxes. The pandemic and the response to it have taught us what's important for learning. We know state and local governments made mistakes during COVID, and we need to make sure they never happen again. We were reminded that well-trained teachers inside the classroom giving real lessons in reading and math are critical to student success. We also know Zoom lessons aren't effective for most kids, nor are activist agendas that tear our schools apart with woke policies that actually harm students. Republicans won't turn our backs on families whose children have fallen behind in these last few years. While some believe the answer to fixing education is simply spending more money, as we just heard from Governor Evers, Wisconsin already spends over $14,000 per public school student, or more than $250,000 per classroom. Taxpayers make a huge investment already in our students, and we have a right to expect results. That's why we need to focus on quality over just spending more money. Now, don't get me wrong, Republicans understand costs are rising for our local schools and local governments just like they are for our families. Government must do things differently if we have any hope of keeping our tax burden heading in the right direction. When we see 2 out of every 3 kids who don't read at their grade level or aren't proficient in math, we have to do something different. Look, I'm a proud product of Wisconsin public schools, but I also know we can and must do more to make our public schools better. While my Democratic colleagues want to make the issue about public versus private schools, school choice isn't just about kids leaving a public school to go to a private one. In fact, in the 2021-22 school year, 71,489 kids open enrolled, leaving one public school to choose a different public school. You see, it's all about parents picking the best school for their children, not being trapped in the one where they happen to live, whether or not it's the right fit for their son or daughter. Now, the answer ultimately will most likely be some additional funds to keep up with the cost of inflation, but it has to come with accountability to make sure that when kids learn inside the classroom, it actually helps improve their lives and builds a well-educated workforce. Republicans are focused on reforming government, growing the economy, and making the right priorities for the state by using the resources that we already have. Our state faces a wide variety of challenges, but one that's at the forefront is simply not having enough workers to be able to fill the existing jobs that we have. Think to yourself, how many times have you gone into a business and they have a help wanted sign in the window? Or perhaps you've gone into a restaurant to discover that half the restaurant isn't open because they can't find enough help. With over 102,000 unfilled jobs in Wisconsin today, no one should be sitting on the sidelines. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. And that's why we're putting a question on the April ballot asking you, the citizens of Wisconsin, if able-bodied, childless adults should be required to look for work in order to keep getting their taxpayer-subsidized welfare benefits. Now, I bet it passes overwhelmingly, and let's hope our liberal colleagues hear you loud and clear and work with us to fix the problem. In this time of divided government, we can find common ground and come together with solutions that face our challenging workforce situation. The voters have said they want us to find ways to work together. In a month, the Wisconsin State Legislature will hear more spending ideas from Governor Evers on his budget. And let me make a few promises so you know where we stand. Wisconsin Republicans will not raise your taxes, and we won't pass a budget that doesn't have significant tax reform. We will not grow the size of government beyond our ability to pay. We will fight to expand choices for parents in every zip code in Wisconsin. We will make sure our neighbors get a hand up and not a permanent handout. And we will invest in our priorities to make sure that government at every level can operate efficiently. Together, Democrats and Republicans, we can make Wisconsin an even better place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you for joining me tonight. God bless you and your family, and God bless the state of Wisconsin.